Spoilers for Agatha All Along, Episode 5. Well, to quote 2006 Arizona Cardinals coach Dennis Green,
"They are who we thought they were."
They made it official 5 episodes into the season, which I actually think is pretty bold of a move for the show to make. I thought this would be an episode 8 or 9 reveal, similar to how Wanda was revealed to be the Scarlet Witch in the end of episode 8 of WandaVision. Like, I felt like we were going to get a moment like that, maybe for Billy. And we did, but it came much earlier, which means a lot of things we expected about the end of the season now get kind of jumbled around. And it's like, all right, well, what are we doing now? And then, obviously, a lot of other status quo changes happened this episode. So, overall, another episode I enjoyed. I think the show is doing a very good job at being what it is trying to be, which is a kind of scary, mostly funny, campy witch adventure romp thing, starring some actors who can really ham it up, and featuring some introductions to Marvel fan favorite characters people wanted to see for a while. So, there's really 2. We didn't get 1 today, although, we did. But, again, I'll save that for double spoilers at the end of this, but I will say the introduction of Billy, or as he will be known, and I'm assuming maybe even they're calling him this now, Wiccan, the character from the Young Avengers who was, you know what, here's the backstory for him, because I realize not everybody watches every one of my videos. So real quick, in the comics, in the, 80s or 90s, Wanda had 2 kids with the Vision. It turned out to be a big thing that the devil did, and Mephisto specifically, working with a guy named Dr. Pandemonium, I think, and then it turned out the kids weren't real. The Dr. Pandemonium stole the children back into his arms. It's a really weird image, and then that was it. I believe Wanda's mind was erased. I don't remember if that was immediately or just eventually. Now, this is why, and people ridicule people like me on the internet who talk about television shows for saying that, oh, maybe Mephisto's behind this, because in the comics, when this happened, Mephisto was very much behind it. So if you wanted to figure out, who could it be, he was an obvious maybe. But anyway, fast forward to the early 2000s after the Avengers were disassembled because Wanda learned about her kids and lost it and killed some people and then disappeared. There was this big power vacuum where there were no Avengers, and the Young Avengers showed up, and one of them was a kid named Billy who went by the codename Asgardian, but eventually would change it to Wiccan when it was revealed that he was Wanda's kid reincarnated. So we're doing some version of that. And I say reincarnated, it turned out that Wanda sent the kids' spirits back in time so they could be born in the bodies of other children and raised by other people. So they had their own lives, but they knew they were secretly also, attached to the Scarlet Witch. First one, Tommy's a speedster. He's not really that important. But then Billy, Wiccan, very important. Very consequential character, has done a lot and has lots and lots of powers and stuff. Everybody's expecting him to be introduced in the Marvel Cinematic Universe pretty soon. Also, he's gay. He's one of the first, characters who was not retconned to have been gay. He just introduced that way. One of the first ones of those in comics. And when Joe Locke got cast in this role, everybody, including me, were like, oh, that's gotta be what that kid's deal is. Especially because early on in the marketing, he was teen. So that made sense to us. And his moves throughout the season so far made sense. It all worked with that theory. He has I think it's a sigil over his mouth, so he can't say his name, probably because Wanda put it there so that Agatha couldn't mess with him or something like that. That all made sense. He didn't know what he was doing. He was just kind of going around. He knew Agatha was important to him, so he was following her. And he also obviously had some sort of proclivities towards magic, and he was always interested in that side of the Marvel Universe because he himself was magic, and maybe he didn't even know that. It was just this magnetism thing of witches are cool and there's something about them I can't quite figure out. But there is a version of the show now where Billy knew way more than he was letting on throughout the first 5 episodes. There's even a version of the show where Billy put the sigil on himself so that he could not say his name, so that Agatha couldn't know it until she figured it out. And maybe he even knew she would think he was her son and was using that to get her to take him onto the road so that he could resurrect his mom or his brother or whatever he's actually interested in doing. But I wouldn't say it's 100% clear. There's a version of this story where this just happened. A switch flicked off in Billy's brain when he heard the Nicholas Scratch thing. He was like, oh, I'm not her kid, because he didn't know this before, right? We knew that Billy was not Agatha's son reincarnated because Rio told Agatha, but she didn't tell Billy. Oh, and I'm going to call him Billy from now on because that's who he is. And clearly, Billy was like, maybe I am, but I'm probably not, but who knows? And it's magic. So even if you know, you don't know. But maybe after he figured out this Nicholas Scratch thing, he was like, oh, I'm not her kid. Oh, you know who that means? I must be that person's kid. And then when he figured it out, sigil goes away. He gets all this information and then he goes full Wiccan. That's a version of this. The other one is he set this all up to get on the road because he would need a coven, maybe because he's not a full witch yet, he couldn't even go on if he had his own coven, so he had to use Agatha to get this coven. I think that makes perfect sense. I think that's a really cool new twist. I kind of hope it's that, just because I enjoy a plot where, hi, this is Mortimer, he's my cat. He loves to be on Daddy's lap when I do these videos, but I do really enjoy a story where a character has a secret. And even with the Rio secret, which hasn't been 100% revealed to us, I think we knew she had a secret the whole time. But with Billy, we did not know he had a secret. It seemed like he was just playing along. But in reality, you can go back now and watch episodes 1 through 4 and kind of see them a little differently now, thinking, wait, maybe Billy is trying to kind of push her in this direction. He is the one that's we got to go to the road. We got to go to the witch's road. And he does kind of show up out of nowhere. I know people have been theorizing that he was working with Rio. I don't know if that's necessarily true, but it's possible. All this stuff is on the table now. Many possibilities. And things that mean not just possibilities for the sake of having possibilities, but they mean now the show will shift. The balance of power in the show will shift dramatically. And that will be interesting to watch, especially since Agatha just got some powers and she just got a little bit of closure. I wouldn't say it's full closure, but she got to speak to her mother's ghost and understand why her mother decided to kill her. So I think that will be good for Agatha's character. And I don't think she's dead. I don't think any of those 3 are dead. I think Alice is probably dead. I had a feeling that character would die eventually, because she's the least famous person on that cast. Honestly, that always helps. And she's not a witch of lots of importance in the comics. Honestly, I don't even know if that character exists in the comics. Whereas at least Jennifer Kale does. This also gels with the leak that we heard before, which I don't want to fully reference because the leak gives away 2 things. But first of all, I love that they, instead of giving him the dopey headband, they gave Billy the crown that is reminiscent of Wanda's, Scarlet Witch outfit that is also kind of, I don't know if it's influenced by her Sokovian fortune teller, costume, or if that's just a coincidence in universe, but her Scarlet Witch costume and his are similar. I think that's very smart. I think Joe Locke in this episode was good. I think everybody has been doing a good job in this show, especially, Catherine Hahn, sure, she could do this in her sleep, but everybody else, all the players in the background, I think Sashir Zamata has been maybe the character for me that I've been the most surprised by how much I'm into them in terms of just, they have a lot going on. I like that they're immediately the first one that's I guess we have to kill Agatha now. Oh, well, we're doing that. Actually, I'm pretty excited about it. So let's everybody, put a smile on your face. We're going to kill Agatha. Loved when she clapped the retainer box back together. I don't know. That character just is cool. Man, I wouldn't mind seeing them in the future. Oh, they got on brooms. That was fun. I like that they had a little broom bit. I think because the show is working for me, I am not even willing to forgive the parts of the CGI that aren't great. I kind of like it because it does seem intentional. Everything on this show seems intentional. And I'm sure if they had all the money in the world to make the best looking, witch zooming around on brooms effects, they probably would. But in terms of a show that does have a limited budget, I think having this effect be kind of not great reminds me of stuff like Hocus Pocus that have done very similar things, or the Sabrina show, not the new one, but the original one, where it would clearly be on a green screen. And I don't think it looked that bad here, but I think it felt stylistic, and I appreciate that about the show a lot because the production design has always been great. I think everything in the 80s attic or whatever that was going for looked awesome. Again, all our costumes are great. Love that they had the watches. Everybody my age had at least one G-Shock watch, and see, one of those was cool. And I love all the little details. Like I said, the retainer was great. I love how Rio's knife also was a brush now, and she was able to flick the little bristles around, because that's what people did with those, and probably still do with them. But there used to be snappable ones of them that you would... I mean, listen, I didn't have them because this is a girl thing, but they did exist, and you flick them open, and then it was cool. So I like that was brought back. I think the Ouija board was fun. I've never done a Ouija board. I don't know if those are the real rules of Ouija board or not, if those were invented for the show, because there were a couple of things, obviously people broke the rules, right? The Mrs. Hart thing seems like it was just Agatha messing with everybody and fully doing that, right? Which means whatever the rules of the Ouija board were, I don't know if explicitly was don't lie to the Ouija board, but that was probably one of them. But then the idea that if you broke the circle, a demon would come get you, right? We saw that one in play. But we also saw the end of the Ouija board thing. That kind of broke a rule, right? One of the rules is everybody has to use the Ouija board together. It's something that's even said originally, and all the characters are like, well, yeah, obviously. And you kind of move past it as an audience. It hits a joke right after that, so you do kind of forget about it. But Billy, when he sees Nicholas scratch and then goes to the goodbye, like, that's something that only he did. And I could see a world where breaking that rule leads to something in the future or something like that. Like, that could be the Willy Wonka fizzy lifting drink. Like, I'm good day, sir. You broke the rule and you don't get to have your Witch's Road thing. Like, if they have, I don't know, Mephisto at the end of the road or something, he could do that. That'd be kind of fun. I think the introduction of Nicholas Scratch as like a character we are going to see, or who has, because he obviously had a presence, but now it's like, we're going to eventually have to bump into him or his ghost or something. I think that's fun. I'm curious what that will be. Will he be an adult? Because in the comics, he's usually an adult. Will he be a scary little omen kid? Yeah, we could do either one of those. So, okay, the most interesting thing in this episode, besides the Billy thing, which I loved, the idea that Agatha sucks up powers. That is her, like, power. She's a witch. And it does seem like these witches are very specialized. So you would figure out what kind of witch you are. And you would figure out you're a protection witch because you can do this spell, or just you have orange glowy magic instead of purple glowy magic or whatever. And you would just specialize in that, right? But it seems like Agatha is like some sort of witch who can absorb other witches' powers. Now, I think in that moment when she absorbed Alice's power, I do think that was unintentional. Like, the way I read that scene, Mom was in the body. She gets shot out of the body, and then Agatha, without knowing what was going on, just has a bunch of power coming into her, and she's like, oh, sick, cool, I love this, but wasn't consciously like, and I'll kill Alice to get more and more power. And that's why I think, like, when Billy got really mad at her, when everybody got really mad at her, I was like, I don't know, I feel like maybe it's just because her name is on the show. This does not feel like I understand why you guys are upset about this, but I feel like we would give that character a little bit more grace in a situation like that. I guess if everybody wasn't like, she's a horrible serial killer. I also think the idea of, like, is Agatha a horrible serial killer is interesting. She killed the Salem 7, but like Rio says, they were trying to kill her, and she did some WandaVision stuff, although it doesn't seem like that many people were killed as part of it. But I guess Agatha has this rap sheet that's been described by a lot of characters. I'd just like to see more of it. I'd like to see Agatha killing people, and this could be like flashbacks or whatever, or just a character to say it. Like, look at all these people you've killed. Just so that when someone like Sashir Zamata or even her mom is like, she's super evil, she does lots of killing, I'm like, oh, right, yeah, that killing stuff. As opposed to, like, there is a legend about Agatha Harkness because everyone was so afraid of her, but in reality, she doesn't do that much killing. Like, I could see either of those playing out. I think the characters in universe know which one is true, or at least know, like, an observer in the universe would know, like, well, yeah, she definitely did those things. But we, as the audience, don't. And I think that's a little bit frustrating. The same with, like, this you're a born evil thing and the mom is a ghost trying to get you. I don't buy it, obviously. Like, that doesn't seem like the kind of thing a show like this would do. And it hasn't been consistent with the MCU. And with, like, a protagonist being irredeemable, I do think, like, after she got a little bit of power, she was like, all right, screw it. I'm just going to get all these guys' power and leave. That was why she was kind of trying to goad Billy into shooting at her, because you can see as he's, like, flinging his fingers around and making the little blue lightning, she's like, oh, yeah, that sounds good. Oh, don't shoot me. Please don't shoot me with your lightning. The animals were cute. Love to see foxes. Foxes are cool. It was a short episode, and I'm fine with that. I think, like, it's interesting that we don't know how long an episode is going to be now. That used to be something that was very specific. You could feel the end of something coming, and I think the build up to the end of this was pretty deliberate. It did not feel like I don't think you could get to the end of the episode and go, wait, that's it? I think you would go, oh, I guess that's it. But it felt like, you know, it had the right momentum to me. What do we think happened? So Rio was there, obviously still messing around with the body because, okay, we're in the double spoiler section. She's definitely death. They choreographed it like 8 times in this episode. The death word came up and she went, ha 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 ha. And everybody was like, all right. Every time a character's like, we're going to die, she's like, sweet, I want that. And you're like, yeah, okay. That makes sense. I don't know why anybody else in this universe hasn't caught on to it. I guess if you didn't know that was an option, that someone could just have been death, then you'd maybe not think that. But, like, if you know that's the thing, then, like, it's probably her. Or maybe you'd just be like, she thinks she's death. Man, she's just super weird. But yeah, she definitely is, like, gobbling up Alice's body or something, so that's fun. I think the other witches are probably just going to be, like, let off of the road or something. They're definitely not dead. I've heard people theorize that did not happen. That was all in Billy's brain, which I think is possible. But in reality, I don't know. I think stuff like that has to happen because that just seems like something that I think we can move on from that without having to fully erase it. So overall, I think the theming, all the production design was still good. I think last week's was a little bit more fun. I'm looking forward to more of it. Let's see what other small things. Agatha's funny in this episode. I do like the delivery of most of those lines. Like, oh man, you're embarrassing me in front of my friends. That was cute. Seems like we had another instance of the foreshadowing playing out in unreal time. But like when in past episodes, Aaliyah has screamed like, Alice, don't. And then I think in a different episode or a different point, save Agatha. And what she was trying to say, like there would be a moment. There are a couple moments where she's just kind of standing around not saying anything in that scene where she would be saying that. So I think that's cool. I like I guess that plus the Billy reveal in this episode and how that changes the other episodes, like makes this very rewatchable, which I appreciate, but also just makes it feel like something that they're not rewriting constantly, which is nice. You know, like there's something where they had 9 scripts, they handed them all in and they all worked together and then they shot those 9 scripts. And as much as I appreciate how Marvel messes around with some stuff after the fact to make it, you know, interlock with other stuff, I think that usually works because, you know, it happens more than you expect. So like sometimes it doesn't work, but like the movies that we like Ragnarok or whatever, those all seem to have it too. So it seems like it's something that happens in every Marvel Studios production. But on the other side, like I like that this one is a show, and I hope that this Marvel doing shows well thing continues. And yeah, I'm very happy with Agatha. I think Agatha's fun. I got Agatha over here with her little friends. It's Agatha, Penguin, and Venom, who I just knocked over. He's got a big month, and a lot of exciting stuff is going to happen with Venom. We're going to see it in October. I'm very excited because it's more spunk content, which is my favorite kind of content this year. I guess it's all content, so who am I to judge? But yeah, I'm excited for Venom, and I'm excited for this little anti-hero October thing. It seems like we are doing a lot of spooky or evil stuff, and I am enjoying it. I think it's the vibe is working for me. So I'll make more videos about this, and then yeah, talk about Venom casting, all that other stuff. So thank you for watching these videos, subscribing to the channel. That's all I got. Stay safe. I'll see you next time.